Welcome back to our review series of Final Destination. My name is Adam of Almost Sideways, and I'm really excited to dive into Final Destination 2 as we journey to Final Destination Bloodlines later on in May. This is the second film in the franchise, and if you haven't seen my previous review of Final Destination, make sure you guys check the show notes down below for that review there. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below and let us know your favorite things about Final Destination, your specific thoughts on Final Destination 2. This second film is directed by David R. Ellis and also came out in 2003. It takes place a year after the events of the first film, and I'm excited to talk about this one because I think this one has one of the most over-the-top openings of all time in the franchise. That is, it has some really awesome deaths, and they definitely stepped up from the first film. If you guys haven't seen this movie in quite a long time and you would like to be refreshed on the synopsis, goes as follows. A young girl named Kim, who is played by AJ Cook, goes on a road trip to Daytona with her friends, and they're stopped at a light, and she has a premonition of their deaths, as these films tend to have. But it's the iconic open road freeway death, capturing and utilizing everybody's fear of dying in a car crash, especially driving next to semis hauling logs. I think that's everybody's fear because of this movie. I know for me, I definitely don't like driving next to those semi trucks with the logs on it. No, thank you. But anyway, there's a big pileup happens, but all the people that didn't go on the freeway after that premonition happened are survived. And of course, death is knocking on their door and is out to get them once again, unless they can figure out a way to stop it. So all the survivors of this slowly, of course, gets picked off one by one, just like the events of the first film. But there's some new rules that they didn't know about before. They also recruit a survivor from the first movie, Ali Larter, as Clear Rivers does reappear in this franchise. So really cool to see her back in there, even though we don't have Devon Saya, and his character is kind of killed by a brick off screen, which is kind of a very disappointing way for this guy to go, because we really liked Devon Saya in the first film, but he dies in such a lame way, one of the worst deaths in the franchise, off screen by a brick. So that kind of sucks. So let's see who the other survivors are, and we'll introduce their characters here too. Obviously, we have Ali Larter here as Clear Rivers. Michael Landers plays detective or a police officer Thomas Burke here, who is kind of the one that's helping AJ Cook go in and investigate all the different going-ons with the death and preventing everybody's demise there too. We got Terrence Carson plays Eugene Dix, Jonathan Cherry as Rory, Keegan Connor Tracy as Kate, Linda Boyd and James Kirk play Nora and Tim Carpenter, a mother and a son duo there. And we'll also get David Patque as Evan here. So all these survivors are fascinating people. They do have several interactions here, and I think some of the kills in this one are even better than the first film, quite frankly. I think the premonition sequence, is far superior than the airplane sequence. The freeway sequence, I've already spoken about it. It's fantastic there. The individual kills of the characters come really quick, like the previous film, quick, and you don't know exactly what's going to happen and who is going to survive each different situation, especially with the ever-evolving rules of death here. I think some of my favorite kills have the best build-up, though. The scene, I kind of preferred the quick deaths in the first one. However, this one, I like the more elaborately based ones. I think the very first kill, again, like the first movie, I think is probably one of the more interesting ones because that's the most build-up to it. Evan Peters' death when he won the lotto, so he comes back to his apartment and tries to make some pasta. He has a watch on, gets stuck in the garbage disposal, and I've seen this movie a lot, and I always think that his hand's going to get blended up in the garbage disposal. I don't know why. Even my wife was watching that and kind of thought about that too, but no, he doesn't. But as I was watching, I was paying attention to everything, and there was a lot of cues of how he's going to die. And this time I caught the magnet falling off the fridge, and it said "eye" on there. So obviously he had an eye death there. So his death was the fire escape ladder had fallen on his eye and decapitated him. So, or not decapitated, but basically just destroyed his brain there, but going crashing through his eye. It's a very elaborate build-up death. You never know exactly what's going to happen. Is he going to be dying by a fire? Is he going to be dying by an explosion? Is his hand going to be blended off? What's going to happen? But it's something that comes out of nowhere. Kind of a freak, tragic accident. That's what it looks like, right? That's a really elaborate death. I think the other death is going to be Tim's death, the son's death here. The 15-year-old kid died pretty brutally in this movie. He goes to the dentist. Building off our second worst fear of dying in a car crash is going to the dentist. It's another, like, just hearing the noise. It was hard for me to watch. I was squirmish in that sequence. Even though I'm okay with the dentist, that's dentist office scene where he's with the laughing gas, and then that little bird or like the little fish falls in his mouth, and he's like about to suffocate to death and gets saved, and you think that's where he got saved there, but no, he gets crushed by a pane of glass. That whole buildup, it's like a 15-minute sequence, and it's awesome. It's like one of the best scenes in the movie. What a crazy way to die, and it's the real special effects to this day look fantastic on that sequence. I just couldn't help but be like, what the hell? That is such an effective scene from start to finish. With the birds crashing into the pane of glass too, it makes it even more unsettling. Absolutely enjoyed that sequence so much. And of course, we get to the other kills that do happen quite fast. But one thing that does take me out of this movie here is that they all decide to go to Officer Burke's house and kind of like start making it safe, because they start slowly believing that, hey, maybe they are connected. Maybe it is like the events of the first film. And let's try to bunk out here and try to save and try to protect ourselves as best we can going forward. And then they just said, you know what, I'm done with this, I'm taking off. And then somebody dies in the apartment with this elevator decapitation thing. It was Nora, Tim's mom. Another great fun setup death too, but again, you're setting up this house and you're trying to do like what they did the first one, but not as effectively, and it's the most unsafe apartment ever. And so it's fun. And then immediately, like, we need to go find this lady in this white van because there's more premonitions that Kim is experiencing here. So we need to find this other character who may or may not have died in the wreckage as well, who has a baby. And before I get too far into that, we did get the reveal of Ali Larter being back. So Kim's meeting with Ali Larter or Clear Rivers in the same asylum is a really awesome, effective scene too. You can see where she's still feeling troubled about the events of the first film, and she really wants to kind of help, but doesn't really want to help. So when she is just reluctantly does decide to help, they go straight to Tony Todd's Mr. Bloodworth and find out more rules about death at this amazing like crematorium type of thing. And come to find out, you have to, new life brings, death. You can defeat death if you have new life. So everything's, there's a pregnant lady that was in this accident too. Maybe if she has her baby in time, we can all survive. So it's like a mad dash to go find this lady. Again, it's completely out of the realm of maybe plausibility there, but it's fun, I guess. Seeing a familiar actress too. I've seen her too, Julian Mercado. She's funny. And seeing her in this role after so many years too, I totally forgot she was in this. This pregnant lady. She does have her baby, and it has a really funny sequence in the hospital. Like, oh, thank you, good job. And they're like, who the hell was that? Like, why did you just burst into my thing? Some stuff that would never happen today. You'd never have random people just open up your hospital room. So that would never happen, but it's interesting to say the least. But the film does have a really lame kind of device. You have to, like, you think about having a new baby, like, into the world to prevent your death, if maybe take a life to prevent a death. I've always had that hard time believing that as well. So I was like, when Kim does decide to go in and she gets to the point where, like, okay, I'm going to drive myself off this thing drowned so that way I can technically die and have new life and defeat death that way. It kind of feels cheap. So I guess Kim and Officer Burke do technically survive. They're one of the only survivors in the franchise. So that's kind of interesting there. So that the ending always kind of like bugged me, and it has a very fun ending where this kid randomly gets exploded by a barbecue. But the drowning part always kind of got to me. It's like I didn't feel like earned or legit type of thing. It just felt kind of convenient. And like, really, did Def really like overlook that? You have to kill yourself to maybe be brought back to life. That kind of sucks. But the film overall has like some of the most really intriguing deaths. Like, I think deaths in this movie probably better than the first movie, with a few exceptions. I think So it would be interesting to see how I break down them on my ranking of my top favorite deaths, so to see which ones appear and which ones don't. But I think some of the deaths really here are set up really elaborately, and I really like that. And David our Ellis does come back for another installment in the franchise, The Final Destination. And we're not going to talk about that one quite yet because I don't want to spoil my disdain for that one quite yet. But he does return for the fourth installment of the franchise. And, I think he did a really good job in the second one. I actually liked it a lot better than I remember it being. I still think it's probably on par with the first movie. And so, yeah, it's really hard to decide which one I like the best because I feel like this one has some really cheesy nature to it. The acting is not necessarily... The acting in the franchise isn't necessarily great, but they have a couple good, really good performances here. And I think Final Destination 2 has more fun irony-ish irony kills than anything. And I think those are what makes this movie so much fun. It's really hard not to be entertained by Final Destination 2. So, that's my thoughts, takes, and opinions on the second film in the installment. I'm so excited for Bloodlines. I'm really looking forward to it. I've only seen the trailer one time. I'm trying not to watch another trailer because I want to go in and kind of come blind to this new film. So let me know in the comments section down below what you guys thought about Final Destination 2, and let's have a good fun conversation down there. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, especially if you like more Final Destination content. It's coming every Friday for the next month and leading up to Bloodlines, and we also will have a ranking of the franchise and my top 10 kills of the franchise as well. So you don't want to miss it. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and be part of the conversation in the comments section. Till next time, my name is Adam, and I'll see you in the next one.